The legacy of the Romans is extremely important. Many things that form part of our everyday life were introduced or improved by the Romans. Over the centuries since the collapse of the Roman Empire, Roman ideas, literature, art and architecture have influenced many people around the world. During this video, you will sense how these tremendous inventions have had a major impact on the people of today. To begin, we will focus on the language. Romans spoke and wrote in Latin. However, the language used today has been developed by the Romans. Many of the new words derived from Latin refer to religion, such as altar, mass, school, and monk, but others are more ordinary, such as fork, spade, spider, tower, and rose. Latin is still spoken in some sections of the Roman Catholic Church. Until 10 years ago, all services in Roman Catholic churches were said in Latin. As well as this, we must look at place names today. Some of our most important cities were founded by the Romans. Here are a few place names which were derived from the Roman language. Condate, which is Northwich in Cheshire, Dever, which is Chester, Dewbury, which is Dover, Durocorbrivis, which is Dunstable, Durocornovium, which is Swindon, and Durolipon, which is Cambridge. In order to move the army across the country, the Romans built tremendous roads. They built roads as straight as possible in order to travel as quickly as possible as they could. Roman roads sloped down from the middle to ditches on either side to allow the rain to drain away and not to make the road too muddy. In Britain, several of our main roads, for example the A1, which is London to Scotland, or the A5, which is London to North Wales, follow the old lines of Roman roads. Many of the buildings that the Romans built are still standing today. This is evidence for how well they were built. The Romans invented concrete, which meant that they could build much bigger buildings than anyone could have done before. They also used arches a lot to make their buildings very strong. Examples of these would be the Roman baths, which were as large as a swimming pool, where the Romans would bathe. These can still be seen in Bath in Somerset. The Colosseum, situated in Rome, was an arena and would provide entertainment for the citizens of Rome. It was always intended to keep the population happy by staging spectacular games of the brutal kind, including sea battles in a flooded Colosseum, wild animal hunts, execution of criminals, and of course, gladiatorial combats. Hadrian's Wall. Emperor Hadrian ordered a massive wall to be built across Britain to separate the barbarians and the Romans. This 117-kilometre wall became the empire's northernmost frontier. The army built defensive ditches, a fortress base, and signal towers along it. Often damaged by tribesmen, it was abandoned in the year 383 as the empire started to decline, but parts of it can still be seen today. Aqueducts. Roman towns needed a mighty supply of water to keep the people clean and to drink. Rome itself used vast quantities of water. The Romans built fantastic bridges all over Europe, which were called aqueducts, which was a bridge to carry water, in Pont de Gard in southern France. This one had a path for walking across, one for riding a chariot across, and a channel for getting water across. The Romans then continued to build 10 more aqueducts, which are still standing today. The calendar. Did you know that the calendar we use today is more than 2,000 years old? It was Julius Caesar who started this, who was a Roman ruler. It is based on the movement of the earth around the sun, and so is called the solar calendar. The months of the year are taken from the Roman months. The months, along with the meanings, are January, named for the Roman god Janus, who was the god of doorways, entrances, and beginnings. He has two faces which look in opposite directions. February, named for Februarius, which was the purification festival. March, named for the Roman god Mars, who was the god of war and guardian of the state. Mars was the father of Romulus and Remus. April, named for the Roman calendar month of Abrilius, considered a scared month for the goddess Venus. April also comes from the Latin word aperire, meaning to open, referring to a spring season, opening of the flowers and leaves. May, named for the goddess Maya, the daughter of Atlas and one of the Pleiades. June, named for the goddess Juno, wife of Jupiter and queen of the heavens and gods. July, named for Julius Caesar in 44 BC. August, named for the Roman Emperor Augustus in 8 BC, who was the first emperor of Rome. September, name came from the Latin word septem, meaning 7, which was the 7th month of the Roman calendar. October, the name came from the Latin word octo, meaning 8, which was the 8th month of the Roman calendar. November, the name came from the Latin word nove, meaning 9, which was the 9th month of the Roman calendar. And December, the name came from the Latin word decem, meaning 10, which was the 10th month of the Roman calendar. The question, what have the Romans ever done for us, was made famous by the film The Life of Brian. Even though the film was a comedy, the sketch from the film is extremely useful to us. It makes us appreciate how much the Romans did actually do.